Hey everyone, and welcome back to Toasty TCG, or if you are a first timer to the channel, welcome to Team Toasty TCG. So today I thought it would be a really neat idea to talk about how to decide for your Master Rule 5 matchups. So today I picked out 10 cards that I felt were the best choices to prepare you for your future matchups in Yu-Gi-Oh! And I thought I'd just go over what you should do, what you should use, and the reasoning behind them. So this is in no sorted order. There's no card that's just the best side deck card out of everything, or this card is just you have to side this. This is all very optional cards that you feel might click with you, and you just choose what you feel is best. So to start off, we have the Fantastical Dragon Phantasme. The reason behind this is because there are still a lot of good link decks. People are sleeping on all the link spam decks still, such as Salamangreats, Dragon Link, and even the Cyburst, Code Talker decks that make an extra link and have a lot of strong unbreakable boards. This is the card for all of that. Like I already said, a lot of people are sleeping on the link decks. They're not going to be prepared for them, and they're not going to consider them. This is where we're gonna end that right here. Make sure you have your Phantasme, and keep in mind that after Dual Overload, the Ultra Rare is only $15, so it's now a very affordable card, and it's going to be very important to make sure it's at least in your side deck if it's not in your main. Now, number 2, we have, for the other extra deck summons, Dimensional Barrier. So this is to stop XZ, Fusion, Synchro, and even Ritual summons. Now, the reason that we need to play this card is for those Synchro spammy decks, or even the decks that do a lot of XZ summons. That's the ones that we really want to look out for, but keep in mind this also does stop Fusion summons. So Shaddoll Invoked in general, it's going to shut down all their combos as well. Now, the next card is... it's not really something that is going to count as its own standalone card because you need to use it in tandem with other cards like Dimensional Barrier. That card I'm talking about is Trap Trick. So this will banish a Dimensional Barrier out of your deck and then set another Dimensional Barrier from your deck. Or if you prefer other trap cards like Eradicator, Impermanence, Evenly Matched, things like that, you can set all those cards as well. Now, next up, we have Kaijus, or Kaiju-like cards. That would include Lava Golem and Sphere Mode for some examples. The reason that we need to do this is because, keep in mind, this will be a very combo-heavy format, so you can let your opponent make their full board, unlike Dimensional Barrier, where Dimensional Barrier just stops their turn. Kaijus let them make their whole board, and then you just get rid of their board. Now, keep in mind the biggest problem for combo decks is recovering. If you let them make their whole board and you take it away from them, they have a very hard time coming back, and that can usually just end the duel right there. Next up, Evenly Matched. So the reason for this is, for anyone that's been a long-time fan of the channel, I am not a fan of back row decks, and I will not make the mistake of sleeping on them going into a combo format. Keep in mind that, like I already mentioned, a lot of people are preparing for combo decks, but they're not going to prepare for those back row heavy decks like Paleozoics, Ultrageist. Those type of strategies are still going to be in the game, and they're still going to mess people up if they're not prepared. Next up is Infinite Impermanence. If you are not main decking Infinite Impermanence, you should be siding it. Keep in mind, this also stops those Synchro spammy decks, where you impermanence the Junk Speeder, effectively ending their turn in most cases, or you can also just hit other combo decks. You can hit a lot of play starters. This card realistically just stops a lot of strategies by itself, and it cannot be called by the Grave. Keep in mind, a lot of combo decks will play Called by the Grave. Infinite Impermanence cannot be stopped by that card. So it will shut down a lot of strategies and force them to either pass their turn or make a less than optimal board. Next up, you all love it or you hate it, Nibiru the Primal Being. This is another card that will stop those synchro spam decks, the XD spam decks. Pretty much any deck in the game gets stopped by Nibiru, minus those back row heavy decks. This will just tribute the whole board and give them the good old rock token, Nibiru being token. Or primal being token, not even Nibiru being token. But it just gets rid of their entire board and gives them a rock. It gives you a rock, and it lets you make sure that you get to your next turn. This is especially good against decks like DDD, where there's really not a specific card for your dimensional barrier to hit. Your Fantasia isn't that good. Your Kaiju can only break one of their 3 negates, and your impermanence isn't really going to stop their plays unless they have like a very bad hand. Next up is Lightning Storm. As I've already mentioned, I'm not a big fan of back row decks, and this is another card to deal with strategies like that, but it can also deal with strategies where they're making their negates, but their negates are for monster effects. So if you Lightning Storm their whole field away and they don't have a spell or trap negate, you're breaking the whole combo board and you're leaving them with no resources. Now, keep in mind, if Lightning Storm is a little too rich for your blood, there still is Twin Twisters. Discard a card, destroy 2 spell traps, and it is quick play, making it a little bit better than Lightning Storm in some cases, such as Anti-Spell Fragrance. So this is still a card to look out for and keep into your side deck. Next up, we have a card that I would even consider should be a main deck. Is Dark Ruler No More. Now, this is the card that just skill drains your opponent's whole field. They can't respond to it, but they also cannot take damage for the rest of the turn. So your opponent plays their Junk Speeder combo, and they make their whole triple Quasar Dragon board, or something to that effect, and you turn them into 4,000 attack vanilla monsters. So they should be a little less difficult to beat over and get rid of with card effects, making it a much easier time to break through the board and win you the game. Next up, we have Super Poly. We still have to keep in mind those Shadal decks, the Invoke decks, the Lunalite strategies, things like that. So Super Poly is still very important. You still play your Predaplant Dracostapelia or your Starving Venom. Even Invoked Elysium can come up against those Invoke strategies. You can also do your Mud Dragon, things like that, just to wipe your opponent's board clean and be able to play the game. Now, at number 10, we have just generic floodgates. You have your Skill Drain, your Imperial Order, your Rivalry, your Gozen Match. Any floodgate that just complements your strategy or your deck, just does what you need it to do to hold your opponent off and let you play the game while stopping them from playing the game. So that's basically it for the top 10. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know what cards you feel are the best floodgates or the best side deck cards, the best options for siding. Let us know if we missed anything. And also, check out our Facebook page, KOTR Creations, who made the thumbnail for this video. Make sure to check them out on Facebook. I'll leave the link in the description below. And that's it for this time. That's Toasty TCG signing out.